this. There's got to be a better communication there. It cannot always be this negative thing. And I'm all for the portal system that we've got. It works great. Communication through email, of course. These are all great things. And listen, school board members, and my time is up.
Thank you, Chase. I'm just kidding. I believe to build consensus, the first thing that we need is a vision. We're lacking a vision at the Marion County School District right now. We do not have a clear vision of where we want to be within the next 9 months, within the next 12 months. Without a vision, without a goal, how are we supposed to get there? If we can't even agree on a common vision for our students, then how can we make decisions on anything else? That part really, really bothers me. If we come together in consensus with each other with a common goal, let's say we have 3 goals, and you'll see this in my packet. Say we have 3 goals at the beginning of each school year. We know where we want to be by the end of that year. We've decided, we've made a consensus on that. The support will come after that, because now we're building trust with the community and with the teachers. Do you see what I'm saying? We're building trust with our teachers, with our administrators. We know where we want to be by the end of that school year. We know where our children need to be by the end of that school year. With the proper communication, with the proper engagement of our community, we can get there. It is not too late. We can make this school district the way it was about 10 years ago, but even better. And again, that's where we need to be. We need to have a clear vision and a consensus of the board with the superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a great question. How would I provide consensus on the board? I worked well with the board this year, the past 6 years, I believe, in bringing consensus. 1, by being respectful. 2, by making sure that when I present something to the board that I think is needful, just like I drafted policy 8.54 for naming rights. That was because of my concern and need for money in the classroom, and I provided information to the board. You have to be able to communicate, and because of the sunshine law, there are some limits on how we communicate. But I provided information. I provided statistical data. I provided information from other counties so that they could understand, and so that and also provided a way for them to have an input. Because without their voice, the policy would not be, to me, the greatest policy. Because I believe all voices on our board should be held, should be heard. So providing consensus is not a hard task. It's the easiest thing to do when you are respectful, when you're a listener, and when you communicate to your board the desires. I bring to the board with me the vision of the school board in providing excellence for our students. Our mission, I bring that mission, the vision, constantly to the board and be mindful that it's students that we are there for.
I believe one of the other panelists mentioned the term goal, and I agree with that. I mean, if you're going to try to get a consensus, get something moving forward, you have to have a goal. Let me give you 2 instances since I've been on the board where I've been able to create a consensus, get things moving. Before I was elected to the board, there was a discussion for years before about building a replacement school for the old Forest High School. When I became chairman, I told the board that I thought that should be one of our goals that year, was to go ahead and start on that project. Well, I was able to rally the board. We started on it, and within 2 years, the school was up. When the Commissioner of Education asked me some years ago, and I was the only school board member in the state that was asked to be on a task force that he put together after 9/11 to discuss safety and security on our campuses. I worked with the group. It was a very diverse group to try to build some consensus of areas that we thought that we could recommend to the Commissioner of Education and also to the Governor of how we could improve the safety and security on our campus. And because of that, I was actually asked to write part of the report. So I'm a firm believer in setting a goal, trying to bring people to that goal, and then going and succeeding. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Diane, this question will start with you, and then we'll work again through the line. Similar, so I want you to listen to the subtle difference in how I'm asking this question. Please describe your past experience with conflict resolution, consensus building. Second part is what leadership skills do you personally bring to the table?
The first part is conflict resolution, and the second part is what skills do I personally bring. Conflict resolution. I've been involved in a lot of different things. When I was running a commission in Connecticut, the town I lived in there, I was in charge of the underage drinking and drug commission, and I had to get a parent convention passed. I got it passed, but it took dealing with a lot of people who were against it, because it required parents to commit to certain things. As public policy chair for AAUW, it's a nonpartisan position, I've had to deal with a lot of people and a lot of different levels here in Florida. I've been the state public policy chair for 4 years, and I've dealt with a lot of conflicts. People disagree about everything. And yet you build them all together to make sure that they are successful. As a teacher, kids are always in conflict with each other. We have to find ways of sitting down and making them talk to each other. The most important thing is finding out the problems before they occur. You find out, you see something starting to happen, you stop it first. I bring skills. I have an MBA in International Business and Finance. I was a financial controller at Citibank. I was assistant to the vice chairman of Cushman & Wakefield, an international real estate firm. I have a lot of business experience. I also have been a teacher for the last 10 years, and I love working with kids. I was a Girl Scout leader for 13 years. And everything I've done, there have always been people disagreeing with each other on different issues. There's always a way to resolve these things, because you have to talk, and you have to talk honestly, and you have to care.
As far as the conflict resolution experience, I have past experience with AT&T, and I worked with a bunch of engineers in South Florida that were working on a bunch of equipment for the phone system. And we had 8 first-line managers. A lot of you business people understand that each one were responsible for their own geographic area, and all the engineers for all the areas had gotten together and had an issue with running batch runs of computer information overnight. That's how long ago it was. It was the 80s, for those of you that remember how computers had to be operated back then. But my manager did not think it was a good idea, even though we had a consensus of all the engineers. So at that point, it was trying to build a consensus among the management. And basically going to each one after my manager said, no, this is not a good idea, polling the other managers, explaining why we were looking for this and giving them the understanding of why this was a good idea. Once they started signing on, my manager signed on. It's basically building an understanding. A lot of time the conflict is not so much, no, I don't want to, as much as it is, no, I don't understand, so that's why I'm saying no. As far as leadership that I bring to the table, I believe I bring that past experience. If you've ever been in a room full of teenagers, you understand that conflict can be a very common thing. Doing that and stepping it up into the adult world is not that far. But having everyone understand and helping them understand that we need to work together, I think that helps the conflict resolve.
Well, in resolving conflict, there have been many, all different types of conflict. I'm a parent. I was a scout leader. I've been an employer. I've been an employer as an employee. And so there's lots of different ways to resolve conflict depending on whether you're working with volunteers or employees or a group of people of different types. So I've dealt with lots and lots of conflict, as I'm sure we all have. As a leader, again, I've been an employer and I've led teams as an employee, and I've also been the president of the local Tea Party. And we worked real hard to try to provide opportunity for everyone to get to know the candidates. So many of you do know me as a leader in the community, in a small way. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a bachelor's degree in law, and I was the legal assistant to the Attorney General back in my country. When I came to the United States, I had my own business up in New York, and my dealings with the Union Bill of Trades, the coalition, and several trade subcontractors, as well as working for the second largest construction firm in the United States, which was the U.S. Corporation. We used to manage between $1 and $10 million project. I learned the art of negotiation to deal with conflicts. You listen to people. Currently, I'm a financial consultant with AIG Financial Network. My job is to listen to people, what their needs are, and to find solutions. Until then, if you don't listen, and people just talk left and right, there's no way you will be able to identify the problem. So listening is one of the skills that I bring to the table, as well as leadership skills. I take a team and I bring them to success. That's what I do. Thank you.
Yeah, let's jump back down on this end and we'll work back through that way. So, yeah.
My past with conflict, just tell you this, and you can see it on my literature there. I worked for Coin Textile Services in Greenville, South Carolina. I started out as a truck driver, if you will, delivering their products, and I worked my way up in a matter of months to procurement manager at a plant. Okay, there was a reason people trusted me. People trusted me in my job. I had an education. Conflict came, of course. You develop thick skin in the business world. But conflict came when I was given 57 employees, and each and every one of them brought different ideas to the table. My business partners brought different ideas to the table, and you sit in a boardroom, as I did, and you hash things out. You have to be collaborative. That's one word that's not been spoken this morning, but collaborative. You cannot have your own way. It's got to be a consensus of sorts. So you deal with these conflicts all the time in the business world. Leadership skills. I believe I'm one of the only here on this panel that actually has a master's degree in education. So I have the thought process behind what comes out in the schoolroom. Okay. A lot of times you can start fresh and you can gain all the experience, which is awesome. And we have lots of experience at this table. But there's a thought process, a philosophy that comes through that teacher. And so my leadership would be coming through in my master's degree, my business experience, and working with the teachers, because their relationship with the student is the most important thing.
So I want to tell you a little bit about conflict resolution. My husband and I are proud parents of 2 teenagers, okay? So we know about conflict resolution every single day. Actually last night we had a little dealing and we had to deal with that. They can either duke it out or we can talk about it, and that's what we do. I've been a teacher for the past 17 years. I've mastered conflict resolution. I've taught 5-year-olds, I've taught 9 and 10-year-olds, I've taught 18-year-olds, I've taught adults. And the first thing I do, we listen. Everyone gets a chance to speak. You build trust with one another. Everyone needs to get it out. All right, just like Jay said, we're going to hash it out. But we're going to hash it out respectfully. We're going to only deal with the situation at hand. We're not going to throw any stones. We're not going to cast any differences from the past. We're going to solve it, and there's going to be an end to it. If you understand my meaning, we're not going to keep going on. There will be an end to it. My leadership skills, like I said, I've been in the classroom 17 years. I've been in the Marion County school system for 21 years. I started as a teacher assistant in a handicapped classroom because I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher. It's my calling. And I was sitting in my classroom a couple of years ago thinking, you know what, I need to do more. There's something I'm supposed to be doing. There's something more that I'm supposed to be doing for these students in Marion County. And that's why I'm sitting in front of you right now. Thank you.
Conflict resolution, I think all of us dealt with it. But just recently with a parent and a student and the school, I was able to bring all of them together to listen to each other and to make sure that we all had a positive thought when we left that table, that something had been accomplished and was still going to be continued on a daily basis, so that each person felt like I've done my part and I'm willing to go further. In the world today, even yesterday with conflict, we have conflict in business. I represent some of my clients before the IRS and before the Florida Department of Revenue, and I sit with them. Yesterday I sat with one with the Florida Department of Revenue, and he was able to look at what I presented from my client who was there side to say, well, yes, we did make a mistake, and yes, we will honor what she's representing. So I do believe that I have those skills. Leadership, with leadership, I've been involved in a lot of community organizations, but I also went further this time with the Florida School Board Association. I actually was asked to join the Finance Committee, and I joined that so that I could get a better understanding and bring my knowledge to the table. Also, I'm part of the Legislative Committee and the Multicultural Diversity Committee on the Florida School Board Association. I continue to be involved in different things in our community just to grow.
I don't think a day goes by that there isn't some type of conflict that you have to resolve. When I was in business, I was there for 30 years, you were always trying to resolve, as has been pointed out by several other members of the panel, you were always trying to resolve conflicts that you might have between divisions or departments or whatever it is, so that you could move forward on one direction. After 16 years on the school board, we have conflicts. I don't think an issue comes to the board, a major issue, that there's 5 different opinions. What you have to do is you try to have the discussion, you try to find out where there's the common ground, and you move in that area and try to resolve it from there. What do I bring to the table? Like I just mentioned, 30 years of experience in the business world, and the 16 years on the school board. I've had the experience from both of them. Experience is very important. I think it helps you realize what can and cannot be done. And it also gives you the opportunity to, like the Apple saying, been there, done that. And I remember when I was out in the corporate world, there was a lot of stuff that would roll down. It was an idea that we had tried 10 years before. And we would be able to go back and say, no, you tried it, it didn't work, and here's how. So that's what I try to bring to the table, and that's how I try to approach resolving the problems.
During my time on the Marion difficulties, I thought and dealt with conflict. There were many conflicts between not just myself, but between other members and the community. During my time on the Bylaw Revision Committee, we had differences. Part of my leadership skills, I served as legislative liaison for my local Relay for Life chapter, and I was asked to serve on the Bylaw Revision and Constitution Committee. One that was made up of just me and one other person. We had a vision. Unfortunately, because of conflict between the board and the community, we were unable to move forward. Thank you.
When I think in terms of conflicts, I look at my colleagues from Dunella and how we worked out a conflict that we had in terms of some property that was sold, and how we managed to work our way through that. And it was a heated thing because the school board had said that we would not at some point work with the city of Dunella because that we had did some things and they had did some things that was not appropriate at that time. We worked with the city, the school board, Marion County, road department, and put a road into Chapmire. We worked out a really serious conflict, and some of you may be familiar with it because you're from this area, and you know how heated that was. But we worked it out. We have a Boys and Girls Club over there on property that once belonged to the Marion County school system, and it's serving around 78 students. Now, one other thing, I'll go a little bit national. We are always having a conflict with our state legislature. as chairman of the Central Florida Coalition of School Boards, I brought members from the Senate to Orlando to sit down and discuss with us the issues that was going on in Tallahassee prior to us going there. We know that we will always have our ongoing conflict with the state. But when we bring them out into our element and sit down and talk with us as a group, when I think in terms of conflict resolution, I'm very good at it in terms of trying to bring people together. I know my time is up, but this is an important issue because I'm looking at the city and I know we got some things on the table that we need to work with. And I feel that we can. Thank you.
Okay, I have to correct Chase for just 1 minute. I also have a master's degree in educational leadership, so there's 2 of us that have that. Also, my experience, I have 12 years of teaching. I'm an educator. So, obviously, I've had a few incidences with some conflict and resolution. I work with students, I work with parents, I work with administrations, I work with my team. And if you notice, I call my 3rd grade a team because we all work together. When there is a conflict, of course it makes people uneasy and they don't feel well about it, but with my experience, what I do first is I address it. I don't turn my back, I don't ignore it, I address the issue. And when I'm addressing it, the first thing I do is I listen. I usually don't say a whole lot, I listen and I take it all in and I find out what the problem is. Then, after I listen to what the conflict is, we work together and we find resolutions. And I can't think of any time in my career that there's been a time where things were not resolved, without me addressing it. As far as leadership goes, I have experience in the classrooms, I know the programs, I know this community, I know children. I've worked on the school improvement plan. It's been a while back, I was part of the PTO, and that's my experience. Thank you.
Okay, we are at the wrap-up point, so I'm going to give each one of you, Ms. Boynton, I'm going to start with you. Give each one of you an opportunity to just offer some closing remarks. Technically, you got 90 seconds, but if there's any opportunity for brevity, we would appreciate that to keep us in line. But thank you, and Ms. Boynton.
Thank you so much, and thank you, CEP, for having this event. My name is Angelia Lorraine Boynton, but I go by Angie, so please remember the name Angie Boynton. It's going to be on the ballot for Marion County School Board District 4. As your current school board member, I have brought to the table ideas that one for the need for money in the classroom. I've drafted several policies, amended policies, so that we can have in a proactive state. As an investment in our students, I established a scholarship about 2 years ago through the Public Education Foundation because it's an investment in our students. I need your support. I need your vote. August 26th. I want to say one more thing. I forgot about this. I made a promise to y'all. One of the things that I thought was so critical that we, as a county, as a state, was the out-of-school suspension. Because as you know, out-of-school suspension leads to involving in crime, it involves the juvenile justice system, as well as an increase in our pregnancy rate. And I want to say we currently not have the PASS program. I'm a strong advocate of it. And without this PASS program, it involves parents. Because students are suspended to 4 sites around the county, and the parents have to participate. Currently, we have over 89% of parental support for the PASS program, and that is one thing I'm proud of.
Thank you for inviting us to be here this morning. We do appreciate this, being able to get out to anybody in the community and talk about yourself as a candidate is a great opportunity. I thank you for that. I will try to be very brief. I've got the experience, whether it was in the business world and then what I've been able to transfer that to the time on the school board. I'm usually the guy that people look to when it comes to, well, how are we going to pay for this? Is there a way to do it? Because I admit, I am a numbers man. I enjoy Excel spreadsheets and trying to figure out how we're going to make everything work in the district with the way Tallahassee funds us. I believe that I've got the experience that is going to help solve problems that we have coming up. We've got a big ticket problem coming that is really under the radar, and that's the electronic textbooks that are coming ultimately within the next year or two, whenever the state decides to do it. Right now, the best calculation I've been able to come up with, that's an $18 million cost to us on the first year of implementation. I believe that I can help try to find a way to pay for it. I've worked in Tallahassee, I've lobbied the legislature up there, I've worked on committees with the Commissioner of Education. I bring all of that to the table. I need your support also on August 26th. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure and honor to serve you on the school board over the years. Thank you for having us this morning.
Thank you to CEP for having us this morning. I know I'm not the average candidate, but my campaign goal and vision is to have a school district that prepares our students